Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Dan Galen. I'm President and CEO of NORC, and I'm very happy to welcome you all to the joint symposium celebrating NORC's 75th anniversary and the university's 125th anniversary. This symposium is co-hosted by NORC at the University of Chicago, by the Harris School of Public Policy, and by the Division of the Social Sciences. I want you to know that we are not doing full-blown introductions of anybody who's going to be up here today. All of the bios are in your program, so you can read more about the very august group of people, present company accepted, who are going to be up here speaking to you today. I just want to do a quick, in addition to a quick welcome, a quick thank you to all of you for coming, to our speakers and participants for all of their work preparing for this, to my co-hosts, Dean Nirenberg and Dean Diermeier, and also very especially to Bob Michael, who was the intellectual leader and had many of the creative ideas that formed the basis for today's symposium. And of course, to the entire group of people who worked on putting the symposium together. It's a large group of people, and I can't name them all, but thank you to all of you. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my two co-hosts, Dean Diermeier and Dean Nirenberg, who are going to make some opening remarks.
As is appropriate to the venue, I've brought a sermon. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming. I'm, as you heard, David Nirenberg, the Dean of the Social Sciences Division, and I am probably the only medieval historian who has ever had the privilege of serving on the board of the NORC. I'm really excited, especially excited, to deliver these opening remarks on the 75th anniversary of NORC. Am I allowed to say NORC just to make it faster? Because we're also because we're also celebrating 75 years of social science research and collaboration between our two organizations. Research that has shaped fields, led to fundamental shifts in methodology, and spurred critical discoveries. When the then Dean of Social Sciences, not a medieval historian, Ralph Tyler, and NORC's second director, Clyde Hart, forged a partnership that brought NORC to Hyde Park from the University of Denver in 1947, they began a project that has made outstanding contributions to our understanding of human behavior in any number of fields and of social institutions, a project that's been growing strongly ever since. If you look at the SSRB, Social Sciences Research Building windows, one of them has an inscription from Lord Kelvin, well, edited from Lord Kelvin. It says, "If you cannot measure a thing, your knowledge of it is meager and unsatisfactory." NORC has been the powerful instrument of measurement in the social sciences and a powerful engine of knowledge. Not unsatisfactory knowledge, but the most satisfactory knowledge. Its modes of research today extend far beyond the public opinion surveys with which it began. And NORC has evolved into a completely independent institution that's actually much larger than the Division of Social Sciences and operates in some 40 countries. And despite this, our ties remain very deep. So I would say that the university has afforded NORC the opportunity to be engaged with, over the years, one of the world's most outstanding groups of faculty in the social sciences. And I don't mean just the Division of Social Sciences, Daniel, I mean Harris and Booth. And it's provided guidance and nurturing and deep support for NORC over years that had their ups and downs, financial ups and downs, never intellectual ups and downs. And the relationship has been symbiotic. Vice versa, in other words. NORC has always been an invaluable partner to the university as we seek to recruit the best social science scholars whose research relies on, well, these instruments of measurement, data collection, analysis. And I could list many, some of whom are here. For example, Jim Coleman, one of the brightest stars of our division, cited NORC as one of the principal reasons why he left Johns Hopkins, which I also did, by the way, not being a bright star, but just shows that there's a, and that alone would be a reason for high praise. Bob Michael came from Stanford to establish NORC's economic research policy. Bob Willis from Stony Brook, Jim Heckman from Yale, all recruits in which NORC played an important role. Now today, by design, over half of NORC's Board of Trustees are sitting UChicago faculty members or administrators. The trustees, and as I said, I have the privilege to be one, help to guide and nurture the academic relationships and scientifically rigorous methodological approaches for which NORC is famous. And I can attest that in turn, NORC is constantly teaching the trustees, or at least me, the medieval historian, what good social science should look like. That collaboration, that structure, allows for both of us to deepen the kind of work we're doing. Over the course of the day, you're going to hear about many such collaborations between NORC and university faculty, but I'd like to just take a moment to point out some of the ones, some very old ones and some new ones that will kind of give a sense of how rich our relationship has been over the years. If you think about nearly 60 years ago, Donald Bogue's partnership with NORC to conduct the first study, I think the first ever study of Chicago's homeless population. People like Gary Becker, Jim Heckman, I already mentioned, of course, Linda Waite, Steve Raudenbush, and new projects as well. Kate Cagney, new projects as well. I was sitting on my first, what must have been my first NORC Board of Trustees meeting when I heard about this new next generation survey panel. And I immediately went home and called up Kathy Cohen and said, this is the perfect instrument for your work. And now we have a joint project with NORC and Kathy Cohen focused on young people of color. So that is the kind of dynamic collaboration that has, since its inception, marked this relationship. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of the most significant contributions that NORC makes to the social sciences division and to the university as a whole, and that is the future generations of social sciences. It's played a critical role in training graduate students to gain hands-on experience through internships and work experience at NORC. So with that, I would like to welcome my colleague and friend Daniel Diermeier, who is the Dean of Harris School of Public Policy and the incoming Provost of the University of Chicago.
Thank you, David, and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today to help NORC, NORC, however you want to call it, celebrate its 75 years of impact through research. When I joined the University of Chicago Harris School as dean 2 years ago, I quickly learned of the long and important relationship that the Harris School has with NORC, extending far beyond our shared Hyde Park address. Since its inception more than a quarter century ago, Harris had many of its faculty members have worked closely with NORC, and I'm pleased to have several of our scholars and one of our distinguished alumnus today participating in today's symposium. And I think what this collaboration does, it just in a nice way, in a personal way, highlights the depth of our ongoing partnership. Today we celebrate NORC's rich past at a time when the work it does has never been more important. NORC and Harris share a deep commitment to harnessing the power of data to improve the quality, responsiveness, and transparency of public and private decision-making. And as the world becomes more complex and more data-centric, organizations like NORC and the Harris School will play an increasingly important role in translating that data into usable, actionable insights that will drive policy in 40-plus countries around the world. Over the 75 years since its formation, NORC has achieved its iconic status driven by its foundational values of excellence, innovation, and collegiality. And it is my great pleasure to congratulate you to this tremendous accomplishment and to this wonderful celebration today. On a personal note, I'd like to thank NORC President and CEO Dan Galen for being such a great partner to the Harris School when I arrived. Whether it's working on common projects, joint hiring, and also the future of political policy analytics that we just did, like 2 weeks ago. an important event. And just as importantly, being a preferred destination for graduating students as one of their most desirable employers, Dan and his team have been wonderful collaborators and thought partners. So today I raise my imaginary glass of champagne and congratulate this wonderful organization to its first 75 years and look forward to the next 100 years of close collaboration. For today's event, NORC has assembled an amazing roster of speakers and panelists who will showcase the great work happening at NORC and its deep and enduring partnership with the University of Chicago. We at the university look forward to many more years of important and fruitful collaborations. And now I'd like to introduce NORC Senior Fellow Felicia Leclerc, who will walk us through today's agenda and host our opening session with NORC President and CEO Dan Galen and Norman Bradburn. Thank you very much.